Everyone, and welcome. We're so excited to have you join on Dental Masters tonight for the office management. So I'm really excited. There are a few people coming in, so we're going to give just a few more minutes. So welcome everyone. There is the chat on the side. So if you guys have the ability, you can chat in and let me know where you guys are all coming in from. That would be great to see where you guys are all at. All right, we've got someone coming in from Pennsylvania. We've got someone in from Wisconsin, Amanda from Wisconsin, welcome. We have Tiffany coming in from Arizona. We've got Smile Center in New Orleans, so welcome. I know it's late on the East Coast, guys. Thanks for joining us tonight. We have another person coming in from Philadelphia, so welcome. Someone coming in from Gilbert, Arizona. Welcome, Stephanie.
Hey, Steph. You can't see me, but I'm here.
Tiffany is there. All right, so we're gonna get started. Tiffany, you guys can't see the video is working and now it has stopped, but Tiffany will chat in, and so hopefully she'll be able to come visual soon. But regardless, I would like to get started. That way we keep this to an hour. We committed to an hour. We want to make sure we have time for question and answer. So welcome. My name is Kiera Dent, and that really is my name. I get it all the time. Convenient. I work in the dental industry, and my last name is Dent. So basically, I am so excited about this office manager community. I'm excited to see how you guys heard about this, and also to kind of let you know what our vision is with Dental Masters for Office Management. So to get started, why did we even create it? The reason being is when I was an office manager, I didn't know what the heck I was doing. I literally was thrown into a position and I was just like told, you're the office manager now, so good luck. And I realized like it was fun and I was super busy, and yet I didn't know, was I actually being an office manager? Was I just being Kiera Dent? Like, what was I expected to do? And so therefore, I just kind of winged it. And then I went on and I started a consulting company. I've been in dentistry for about 15 years. I started out as a dental assistant. Then I went on to a front office, then office manager. I ended up partnering in and owning two very successful practices in Colorado that I grew successfully. And then I also worked at Midwestern University for a few years and met a bunch of dental students there. So honestly, I've been in the dental world for quite a while. And so after I was an office manager in Colorado, part owner of those, I decided to start a consulting company, and I have about 50 consulting clients nationwide. And then we also started a hiring company nationwide. And one thing I get constantly is, Kiera, how do I train my office managers? And then office managers saying like, am I doing this right? Like, Kiera, what am I supposed to do? What are we supposed to, like, who can we ask for help? Like, where do office managers even get training? And Tiffany, she's also a traveling consultant with me. She's been an office manager as well. I'll have her talk in just a few minutes. But we started putting our heads together and we realized there truly is nothing out there for office managers. Yes, there's the, ADOM, which is fantastic, but like, where can you go to actually do office management learning? And so that's what we created. We decided we wanted to get a community of amazing office managers together because, I feel like we're kind of put on these little islands out there and said, here's an office, now go run it, right? How many of us can join in that, right? We don't even know, what does that actually mean? What are the expectations? So we decided if we can create a community where office managers can join together, you can then relate and talk with other office managers that are nationwide. So it's not just so specific to your area. How much better can we make the world of office management? But we want to add more than that. We don't just want it to be an area where there's a community. We also want to give you tangible, actionable items that you can then go and implement today in your office. So that's the community we're creating. Right now, that's where we're at. But then in addition, we are getting ready to start a curriculum that office managers can actually come to. Or, how many front office get promoted? You're the rock star of the office, so you just naturally become the office manager, but there's no training of what does that actually look like. And so that's what we want to do. We really, truly want to create that community for you guys to allow you to then have the skill set necessary. So Tiff, if you want to let us know a little bit about you, that way the people in the group can know who you are, as you're going to be one of the big contributors to the Office Manager Dental Masters program.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely. Hopefully my video comes up and then you guys can see me. You'll see me in other videos for sure. I'm Tiffany. I am in Phoenix, Arizona. That's where I'm based. And I've been in the dental field for about 15 years or so now. I love it. I've always loved dentistry, and I've done a lot of things from assistant all the way up to, like Kiera said, I've done office management. I was similar to Kiera in my office manager position, and I was really just kind of thrown in and given the title with not a ton of direction. So I kind of paved my own way. And like Kiera said, and I'm sure like many of you feel, I sat there wondering most of the time if I was even doing what I was supposed to be doing or if I was just doing me. Come to find out, I did, Kiera and I both, we kind of knew what we were doing. we paved our ways and we figured things out as we went. And Kiera and I hooked up not that long ago, and I fell in love with consulting. Similar again to Kiera, most of my offices are looking for protocols and checklists, things like that, and office manager training. That's what they need. They want to see their office managers thriving and being fantastic. And so Kiera and I got together and we said, we've got to do this. We've got to put some information together, and that's what we're here for, and that's who I am. I am dental. My name isn't Dent, but I am dental. I absolutely love it.
So I'm so excited, guys, and I'm so sorry that you can't meet Tiffany. Tiffany is fantastic, but we go into offices all the time. We really, truly, one of the things we do when we do consulting, the primary thing that we work on, typically in every single office, we've been in over 50 offices nationwide here to date, and the primary thing we work on and work with are our office managers, because honestly, we really, truly, truly just feel like that is the area that there's always a need of support, right? Like office managers, we feel like we're alone. I remember sitting in my office so many times thinking like, I seriously cannot figure this out on my own. Like, I wish I had somebody to brainstorm. And ultimately, I'm the one in the office that has to come up with the answers, has to come up with the decisions. I'm the one who's expected to know it all. And half the time I feel like I could really use some help. So I really, truly wanted to have that resource there. Now we have some dentists that have joined us in here as well, which welcome, Dennis, we're glad you're here. This community, we wanted to have two separate office management communities. We want one specifically for office managers, and we also want one for dentists, because dentists really do need to know what office managers do as well. So we have those two communities that we're creating, and there will be more information for you guys to share with you. But tonight, what I really wanted to do is I wanted to set the groundwork for you guys. As an office manager, and something I teach in consulting, I'm so pro that if we can set clear expectations, like truly have those clear expectations so people know what's expected of them, how much easier is our life? Like, we really then know what's expected of us, what to do, and if we're actually measuring up to being an office manager or what's going on. Now, I've kind of had to do a blanket form for office managers across the world. Office management is going to look different based on different offices. For example, I have an office manager in Virginia. She's amazing. She has 50 employees. The office is huge. And yet her role as office manager looks a little different than, say, my office manager that I have that's out in Hood River, Oregon. She has 3 employees. It's a smaller practice, right? These things are going to look a little different. However, across the board, I wanted to give a really good picture of what a true office manager looks like. And then that way you guys can delve in. We can throw these ideas out there, but ultimately as a community, we want you to give your input. We want you to help us out. We want your feedback, because Tiffany and I are just 2 people as well. And if we can continually grow and expand through our community, we are going to make everybody in the world of office management better. So hopefully that's what you guys are all looking for tonight. I wanted to give you guys something tangible, something to take home, something to implement. So I'm going to do a quick screen share with you guys. Ellie is fantastic. Ellie is somebody else I think we should introduce. She is part of the team. She works with me in the hiring department, but she also is a math wizard, and I have to give her math shout outs because literally today I've been in an office all day long, and Ellie has been working round the clock behind the scenes, making sure all this is put together perfectly for you guys. So shout out to Ellie. She's fantastic. You guys will meet her as well. But I'm going to quickly show you guys kind of the overarching expectations of an office manager, and then we're going to break it down a little simply for you guys, and then have you guys do a question and answer. Because I thought if we set the groundwork, clear expectations, we then can build on that. Now, yes, I also want to set the stage clearly that we're going to give you actionable items every single time we come to these webinars, something you can take home, something you can implement, because I hate going to things where I feel like, cool, that was a great rah rah, everybody's excited, but what did I take home from that? So that's what we want. We want your feedback. So give us the feedback on what these things are, because this is your community. This is where you get to have the support, the group, the community, the actionable items, all those things for you to make it actually an area that you want to tell your friends about. You want to tell all your best friends of office management, come here, get the resources, because truly this is where it's at. We want it to be a one-stop shop. I don't want you Googling every single day, like, how do I do this? I want us to be the place that you come to for that help. So we're going to jump into sharing screen. So let me get that going for you guys. All right. So this is on our website. This is going to be available to you to access. And first and foremost, like I said, wanted to give that clear-cut expectation for you. So here we have it, office manager duties, and I want to walk you through these. I put together a pretty extensive list, but like I said, I want your feedback. So tonight when we're done, we're going to send these out to you guys, and we would love your follow-up tomorrow of, yeah, that is exactly what I wanted to do, or you know what, these are additional things that I do in my office, so we can make a very comprehensive list. So coming on down, in here we have our office manager duties. This is just a general overarching set of expectations, kind of rules, things that an office manager would be doing. Maybe you're doing all these things. Maybe you're missing a few of them. I'm hoping you take it, evaluate yourself as an office manager, evaluate your office manager's dentist, and see, are they doing these things, or what things can I implement? Because I want this to be something you take home and have something to implement. So first and foremost, office managers are always about daily production, right? We have our production goals. That's what we're looking for. Patient flow, statistics for the team, monitoring productivity, helping with monthly and annual reviews, ensuring payroll is accurate, acting as a liaison between the doctor and the team. You monitor the organization. All those things right there, just off the bat, bam, bam, bam. Those are things you should be doing as an office manager. Why? Because we're taking things off of our doctors' plates. We want our doctors to be producing. We want them to be doing what they're supposed to be doing, right? They went to school to be our doctors, to produce. These are things that as office managers we can take on. Now, I understand some dentists don't want to give up these things, and that's okay. This is just, like I said, a general overarching part for you that then you can take, fine tune for your office, but also I want you to have that thorough list. I want it to almost feel a little overwhelming because I want to break it down and make it simple. I also really challenge you guys to look at your life and see, hey, am I getting caught in maybe some of the things that I shouldn't be doing that I could delegate out? Because so many times I was guilty of this. When I was an office manager, I loved to save the day. I was really good at it. I was an assistant. I could jump in the back. I could treatment coordinate. You better believe I could sell any treatment plan because I should be able to, right? I could break down an insurance faster than most people. Like, I was really good at that. And I don't say that to toot my own horn. I say that because what I want you to realize is sometimes office managers, we forget and we slip back into those easy roles that come naturally for us because the management part is hard. We don't get the kudos. We have to kind of be the boss. We have to push those things forward. And it's sometimes a lot easier. It was so much easier for me to go be an assistant and jump in the room, flip a room because I was really good at it. But yet, that's not where I was paramount and that's not where I was needed. So that's why I want you to also evaluate yourself. Am I doing all these things on this checklist, or am I kind of getting caught in other areas? I want you to have a directed focus so you know exactly what your roles are. So moving on down the list. As an office manager, you also coordinate hiring. You act as a team trainer. You supervise all personnel. You handle patient problems, right? The unusual ones. You review and redefine job descriptions. You're making a daily bank deposits, encourage patient referrals, ensure office growth. Now, some of those things, can they be deferred out? Yes, but ultimately, those fall on the office manager. When push comes to shove, those are yours. This does not mean, also, another key point, a lot of office managers feel they have to take it all on and they can't delegate out. No, that's very wrong. And I want you to just challenge yourself and question yourself, like, do I do that? Am I the one who takes on all these responsibilities because I know it'll get done? Do I trust my team? Have I empowered and instilled in my team to be able to do some of these things, but yet knowing at the end of the day, these things still are falling on your responsibility. You can delegate out, but you're still the one held accountable for them. Going on down, you create new accounts on the computer, keep personal records current, you handle team questions and concerns. We have this on here twice because it's super important. You coordinate the team meetings and performance reviews. Like truly, truly, it's that important, right? You run reports, you oversee achievement of meeting office goals, you ensure the fee schedules are current and accurate. Huge, huge things. Guys, when I was an office manager, I was so like, you would think fee schedules and getting us credentialed would just be common nature. I literally did not know that that was something I was supposed to do. I just didn't know it. I thought like I'd been in offices and I just thought it happened. So these kind of sound funny. Maybe you're doing them, like I said, maybe not. Performance reviews, I was like, what the heck are those? Like, I know I'm supposed to do them, but what does that actually mean? So some of these, please don't get discouraged, but realize once again, it's an overarching of what we want you to achieve. I want that clear expectation there so you know what's expected of you. The last part of this, receive and distribute mail, run credit checks on patients, ensure OSHA standards are met, coordinate office maintenance, run computer backups, coordinate office dress code, financial arrangements with patients, and contribute to team spirit. All about that team unity. So long, lengthy list, right? And I wish I could see your faces right now. I wish I could interact with you guys. I wish all those things, because that's how we're able to then, I could see what you're doing. But right now I'm hoping that you're taking it in. You're really working hard to be able to kind of evaluate yourself as well. So now, everyone feeling okay? I can't even see you guys. So I'm really hoping you're doing okay. But
you're in a world of your own.
I am in the world of my own. I really am. So I've got a few chats coming in. Looks like people are doing really well. So you guys are doing great. It looks good. That I just wanted to make sure. I've got a few comments coming in saying yes, this is relating to you guys. Okay, so good. I'm glad it's relating, and I'm getting some good feedback from you guys. I want you to take it in, soak it all in. Office manager duties. This is going to be there available for you. That way I want you to go in tomorrow, or if you're lucky and you have a Friday off, maybe on Monday you go through and you check yourself. Really, truly evaluate yourself. I want you to see yourself. Like, don't get down on yourself. That's the number one thing that I think I used to do. I used to tell myself, I'm not being a strong office manager because I'm not doing everything. That is a very false reality. Don't live in that world. Even if you're not doing all these things, that's okay. You now have the benchmarks to strive to grow to, as opposed to not knowing what's really expected of you. So I wanted to set that benchmark high. I wanted to have everything listed there. And now I want to go into the next phase where we broke it down for you for daily, weekly, monthly, and quarterly. So you have some checklists available. So in there, Tiff, do you have anything you want to add? Because I really can't see your face. So tell me, anything you want to add in on those job duties?
No, I think they're awesome. Stephanie put a nice little face in there that I'm not surprised about on the chat. No, I think they're awesome. I think it's a lot of stuff that many people don't realize is within the office manager spectrum, and most of those things aren't trained on. So that's why we're here. I think that was perfect.
And it's hard and it's scary. And I remember, like, gosh, when I was like, I have to do month end. Like, I don't know what month end means. What does month end mean? I need KPIs. What the heck is a KPI? I have no clue what these things are, but yet I'm expected to do it. And so I'll quickly Google, like, how do I do KPIs? What's a good example of it? And honestly, we want it to be better than Google. We want it to be coming from true office managers who have been in your shoes, who have walked there. But also, we keep ourselves current by being in offices, learning from other office managers. And if we learn a better way to do it, we want to share that. And we want to learn from you guys as well. So let's dive into the daily checklist. Because like I said, I want you to take meat home. I want you to truly have something that you're like, yes, I can go do this and I can start. But please, 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 I'll throw out another caution. I want you just to take one or two things. So hopefully you're taking some good notes. Hopefully you're thinking about brainstorming some ideas. Hopefully you're excited about having a community. But also I hope you are realistic with yourself, because the last thing I want this to be is where you go home feeling like, dang it, I'm not being the best office manager. You are doing amazing. You are here tonight, and that is huge. So I really, really want you to credit yourself, applaud yourselves for being here, and then take one or two action items, and then we'll follow up with you because we are here as your community for you. So jumping into daily checklists. Daily checklists. I'm a huge proponent of morning huddles. You guys will probably hear me on any podcast talk about morning huddles somewhere, because I'm such a huge proponent of morning huddles. And I think the office manager leads the team through morning huddles, but morning huddles have to be effective. We're going to have tons of training on how to have your morning huddle be effective. What do you do when your team doesn't want to do a morning huddle? Like, how do you make sure that they're actually effective and productive? So daily, this is going to go through all the daily things that we expect of office managers. Morning huddles, then also tracking on a daily basis. Why am I such a huge proponent of tracking? Because I believe it's how you actually can measure your success or measure where you need to improve. Without tracking, it's kind of like I can say, oh my gosh, my case acceptance is 98%, because in my mind, I am so amazing and I get 98% of my cases closed. But when I actually track it, I'm like, oh, there is an area I can improve, or hey, I'm doing amazing, right? So that's why I'm really big on tracking. So you know your cold, hard facts, positive or negative, because that's the only way you can then find the areas to evaluate and change to make your office better. So daily tracking your production, your collection, your reappointment percentage, 95%, your attrition percentage, we're aiming for, and attrition means like, so we have all of our new patients. Offices are so proactive on tracking new patients, but we're not necessarily tracking who's going out the back door, right? So we're aiming really for that 0%. I want your office maintaining a 95%, keeping your attrition so you aren't losing any patients. So that one might be a little big. I'm really aiming for your goal to be 0 on that. Case acceptance, we're aiming for 95% of case acceptance and tracking that. Reappointment percentage, we have that at 95% as well. What that means is all your patients leaving with cleanings, we want that to be 95%, because, right, we want all of our patients leaving with a cleaning appointment. Same thing with case acceptance. We're aiming for those higher numbers, and I want you to track yourself. What are you doing? Even if you don't have dental intel or divergent or some of those sophisticated measures, totally okay. We want you to actually have that tracked somehow in your office, so you know. So when your doctor comes to you and says, hey, what's our attrition rate, you can pull that out, and we can teach you even if you don't have dental intel or divergent or some of those. Same day treatment. Why am I proactive on tracking same day treatment? Because I want you to see how much you're adding, how much VIP patient experience you're giving your patients. And that's a really good thing for you to show your team. Like, hey guys, yesterday we were only at 2,500, but we added 5,000, bringing our day up to 7,500. Like, awesome job, team. New patients and referrals, broken appointments, unconfirmed appointments for the next day, hygiene production, evaluating refunds, online reviews, reporting office numbers, and you close out the day. So you're looking, and then you also look over the next day's schedule. You're looking to make sure you're scheduled to goal, the office flow, any holes in hygiene, and unconfirmed appointments. So I feel like that's a really good general checklist of what you should be checking every single day, tracking yourself. Now, a lot of office managers might look at this and say, Kiera, there's no way. Like, I'm so busy. I'm answering the phone. I'm answering doctors, like constant bombardment all day long. I've got Sally and Joe and every other person in my office all day long. Like, how am I supposed to do this? And my answer to you is prioritize. I want you to add this on, to have this be something of like, okay, every single day I need to get this done. It's like I run a couple companies, and I can say to myself, I never have time to check my email. And reality is, if I let my day be thrown at me, there's no way under the sun I can get to all my emails. However, if I prioritize, okay, I've got 30 minutes every single morning that I'm going to answer my emails, guess what happens? I'm wildly efficient in that 30 minutes, and I actually get it done. So I want you to look at your life as well and think, okay, I know I can do it. I was just in an office today, and they were going through their accountability measures, and they were saying, oh, dang it, like we missed it by like 5%, so we're just going to try harder. And I stopped them and I said, okay, what does try harder actually mean? Give me something that's attainable. I want you to, or hey, I'm gonna do better on my AR. What does that actually mean? Give yourself a number of benchmarks so you can track yourself and you can actually see your progress. Because when you see progress, you actually are so excited and so encouraged to continue moving forward in that. That's why I want you tracking every single day, because you're gonna start to see your graph and you're gonna start to see it move up and up and up, as opposed to never knowing, am I actually hitting my goals? Am I falling short, and where am I falling short? So that's the daily. Hopefully you guys are still with me. You're excited about this and I haven't lost you all. Tiff, I hope you're watching our comments come through because, you know,
I
I can't see their faces. So,
am. They're getting excited. We're good.
good, good. And I love this because when I finally created the checklist and I had an actual checklist in my life, I felt like, oh, I have clarity. I'm not sitting here wondering like, okay, am I doing what I'm supposed to be doing? Am I not doing it? And constantly spending time trying to figure out what is the next thing I'm supposed to be doing. I actually had a vision and a direction of what I needed to be doing. And then I knew I was hitting my benchmarks. So hopefully that gives you guys also kind of that, even though it might feel overwhelming, it gives you a roadmap. It gives you clear-cut direction to know what you need to do, right? What we should be aiming for. So weekly checklist. Let's jump to the weekly checklist. So on a weekly basis, some of these things are going to repeat, and I have them repeat on purpose because as a daily, it looks different than when you track it on a weekly, as you track it on a monthly. So some of these will be different. They'll have the same, but it's tracking things in a little different way, and I do it intentionally. So pay attention to that, see how you can implement that as well. So on the weekly, we want you to hold productive weekly team meetings. I'm all about team meetings. I'm about you guys having that really, truly focused in, dialed in on your weekly team meetings. I also believe in setting weekly goals. So many offices set monthly goals, but they fail to see that if you set it weekly, it's a smaller bite-sized goal that's actually attainable, right? If I tell myself I want to have I don't know, I'll use the 6-pack analogy like I use in a lot of offices. I want to have a 6-pack, but I want to have it next, and I want to have it by December 31st. Okay, great. That is a really big goal. I need to break that down into my daily and my weekly goals so I actually can hit that bigger goal. So many people we need to hit 150,000 for our monthly production. But when I used to do this, you guys, like this is what I did. I would set that goal and then guess what happens? Last week of the month, what are we doing? We're scrambling, trying to get all the production in, all the unscheduled treatment, trying to hit 150,000 and we barely scrape by or we miss it. So what I did is I flipped it and I did it weekly. I started hitting my production goals constantly when I changed it to a weekly production goal because that was so much easier and obtainable to get. So that's why I want you to think about these in daily, weekly, and monthly goals as well. So I want you to set your weekly goals. I also weekly want you to be tracking your weekly production and collection. I want you to set goals for the next week, right? Evaluate where your office did well, what didn't go so well, and so you are constantly course correcting every single week so you see those little progresses. I want you to track your weekly case acceptance and reappointment. I want you to track your provider hourly income. Sorry about that. I want you to be doing your recall list and hygiene openings, your aging of AR and patient balances, following up on claims, confirming claims, pre-authorization follow-up, and referrals. Now, why do I have that on weekly? I have that weekly because what I want you to do is sometimes these become really big, overwhelming things. And if you can take it down to weekly and it's on your checklist to make sure you're doing it, but does this mean you have to do it? No, not necessarily. Delegate out to your team. But somehow you're doing this every single week so it stays small, so we stay on top of it. It's like, had I just worked out every day a little bit, I'd be so much further along than having to do like the mass marathon workouts, right? Or like the binge dieting because we didn't stay on top of it. That's what these checklists are implemented for, to try and keep you proactive. I'm all about being proactive instead of reactive. I don't want you getting to the end of the month saying, oh, dang it, that's not like, we're not close to our goals. I want you to actually looking at it and saying, yeah, I'm on track, or no, we're going to course correct now. It's much easier to course correct as you're tracking it going along as opposed to waiting always until the end of the month. You tend to have a lot more results when you do those smaller tracking. So that's what we want for the weekly. Now, let's head to the monthly. Monthly is going to be, once I said, a little bit of the same, a little bit different. So close out the month, obviously. A lot of offices don't do this. Some say, I want to wait. I'm really, really proactive. Close your month. The reason being, everything solidifies. I always have my months closed by the 5th of every month. That way, nothing can ever come back on you. We avoid embezzlement. And I know sometimes insurance checks are coming in and it can make your ledgers messy. That's just my opinion. Everyone's going to have their own opinions on it. I'm just really pro. Close your month out. I just like to stay on top of everything as opposed to falling behind and trying to remember and catch up on things. So close your month out. Also perform individual team member evaluations. Once again, I like to stay very proactive on these. I like to evaluate my team once a month. I want to give them the feedback. I want them to know, hey, you're meeting my expectations, or no, we're not. Like, let's work together. Let's create a good thing so that way your team is empowered to feel like they're actually meeting the expectations you have. One of my famous lines that people hear me say all the time is, frustration happens when expectations aren't met. And I'm going to pause on purpose because I want you to think about that again. Frustration happens when expectations aren't met. Think about it in your office. You get frustrated when your doctor comes to you and they're like, hey, why haven't you done this? And you're like, oh, I thought I had, like, I thought I did everything you wanted, and yet I'm missing it. And doctor's like, why haven't they done this? Because our expectations aren't in a line, right? When our expectations are met, we're not frustrated. Same thing with your team. They feel frustrated when nobody comes to work, guys, to tick their boss off. They just don't. And if they do, they should be working for you. But 99% of people come to work and they want to exceed expectations. People want to feel a win. They want to feel like they're doing the best job possible. That's why you guys are here, right? You want to know how to make yourself that much better. So if you can evaluate with your team, give them those expectations that they can exceed, they're going to feel a win. And you're going to feel a win because your expectations being met. They feel heard. And you can always do these course evaluations. That's why I recommend them monthly. In addition to that, I want you to evaluate each department. Where did you excel? Where do you need to improve? And I want you to set 1 to 3 goals. You guys will hear me. I'm very pro. I like to keep your goals small so they're actually achieved. I really, really want you to feel those wins because that's when you'll continue to progress. When you're hitting those wins, when you're seeing the changes in your office, you're going to continue to excel that way. So setting 1 to 3 goals for each department, making sure each department is growing. Also setting personal goals for how you're going to help each team member. That's where you get to do your self-evaluation on yourself. How did I do as an office manager? I remember, and I say this in here because when I was an office manager of my big practice, I had 32 employees. I was at 2 different locations. We were getting ready to buy our 3rd practice. It was nutso. I worked from 2 a.m. to 10 p.m. It was crazy. I was nuts. But I remember I left that practice. I went back to Reno and went with my husband. And I remember when I did that, I had this like aha moment. And I remember feeling so sad because what I had done, I had been a great office manager, but I remember sitting there one day thinking, oh my gosh, I failed my front office because whenever I had a new hire, what I did is I would just dump that new hire in Sarah's lap and say, Sarah, just train them, you got it. And I'd be in the back busy. And I had this moment of, holy cow, had I just taken a little bit of time, maybe even 30 minutes, and gone up and set clear expectations with those new hires, Sarah's life would have been so much easier. She could have been more effective. And that was an area I felt like I had failed Sarah for, a year and a half with working with her. I did not realize that until I had left and I had some quiet time where I was self-evaluating. That's why I put this on here monthly. So that way you don't have those moments in 2-3 months where you're like, oh, I want you to evaluate every month. I want you to have that self-reflection where you can say, this is how I'm going to be a better team lead. This is how I'm going to lead my office better. You might even get some feedback from your doctor or from your team to let you know where you can improve, but then you self-reflect so you know how to grow. But like I said, as women and as office managers and as, in management and in lead roles, a lot of times we get really hard on ourselves. So I want it to be 1 to 3. I want to stay positive because I'm all about positivity. That's going to create the most change. But I want you to take that time, literally uninterrupted, where you can sit and actually reflect and see how your office is doing and how you're doing so you can become an even stronger office manager. Moving on, so I'm not getting too sidetracked for you guys. Also monthly, I want you to be tracking your supply and your lab budget, your overhead, your monthly production and collections, your monthly treatment case acceptance, your monthly attrition, new patient referrals, and the source, hygiene department. And by hygiene department, we're talking how healthy was your hygiene department? Were they producing 3 times their pay? If not, what do we need to do to get our hygiene department healthy? Your active patient base, your aging of your AR patient balances, confirming following up on claims, the ROI of your marketing budget, and your KPIs compared to the previous year. Now, like I said, this is monthly. What this does, and if you guys notice on all these tracking, is you then are able to compare day by day, week by week, month by month. So then you're able to go back and look and say, hey, last month my active patient base was this month my active patient's this. What happened? Did we grow? Did we diminish? What happened in there? What was my treatment case acceptance? Why were we better this month? Why were we lacking this month? What's going on? And this, hopefully you guys can see as you're tracking all these different things, you then are able to actually start to see yourself have patterns. You're able to pick out those things and become such a stronger office manager that grows your practice. Then you go to your doctor and you're like, hey, just want to let you know, this is where we are with our supply budget. This is why. That way we're becoming so proactive for them. instead of being reactive when they're like, well, what's our supplies? And you're like, hang on, let me hurry and check. Like, I'm not sure. Like, are we within budget? Are we not within budget? I don't know. You actually are being so proactive on your life as opposed to constantly being reactive to those different things, and really allowing yourself to be in a good space of being efficient with your time, making sure you're tracking the things that are super important within your office, but doing it in a way that you feel is actually achievable for yourself. So we're going to go through one last quick checklist of your quarterly review, because I also think it's important to do a quarterly checklist. This is very small, very simple. I want you to do your KPIs. That way you know, as a quarter, how am I doing compared to last year? Like you guys can see, I'm always wanting to compare forward and back, because that's when you start to pick in your patterns. Team evaluations and team building for positive culture. Because truly, guys, your team culture is so important as well. Now, we might feel a little overwhelmed. I hope you feel positively overwhelmed. I hope you don't feel underwhelmed. I hope that this is giving you a lot of things to think about, to mull over, and to really, truly be able to then find a way that you can move yourself forward in a very positive way. So we're going to come back and we're going to open it up to having a question and answer at this point. Unless Tiff, if you have anything you want to add in, I think she's there, but I really, really want you guys to now do a quick Q&A. It's 8:08. I wanted to leave about 15-20 minutes for question and answers, so that way we can help you guys with specific things that you are having questions to. It can be related to what we just talked about with those evaluations, or it can be related to something else that you might have questions on. But at this time, I really do want you guys to have a question and answer period, so you feel like you're getting something specific for you. So question and answer is open now. You guys are welcome to chat in.
I think while we're waiting for that, it's really important to note that we strategically took all of the duties and split them up into manageable lists. So while the last 30 minutes or so was a lot of information coming from Kiera, it's all manageable. We split it up in ways that you can really track. And I know when I was manager, it felt like I was the one that had to do everything. So not only did I jump in the chair because I could assist, or jump up at check-in because it was my favorite, but I also would just feel like I needed, to have that recognition. And so doing all of these things and these checklists, you're not doing all of them, you're tracking other people doing these things.
Correct. Absolutely. So we just had a great question come in, Tiff. The question was wanting to know, how do we, what are some of the low-hanging fruit that office managers can do right away? So Tiff, if you want to take this one, that would be fantastic. Low-lying fruit that office managers can do right away that's really going to make a strong impact in your office.
Yeah, absolutely. I think one of the best things is payroll right away. Take it off the doctor's plate and let them do it, let them learn it. It takes a little bit for it to become your niche. So give it to them, let them find their area of comfort there. Pulling all of the monthly reports like we talked about in the KPI, those are going to be super important, because those are things they need to start getting used to being able to read. And really just, to me, I think getting the office manager invested and involved with the team is key right off the bat. So I would throw them in with the team, let them continue tracking them and getting them invested.
Definitely. And I'm going to chime in on there as well. I think another really easy area for office managers to take over right away that's low-hanging fruit are production and collection. I go in all the time, and in Dentrix is my favorite software to use. There is a little view bar that you can have up there, and on that view bar, you can have it say, so let's say front office, there's two of them. I would set one to track the hygiene production and one to track the doctor production. So you can actually visually see what your production is for the total for the day. So many offices aren't tracking that. And that's something so simple that an office manager can track for you to make sure you're hitting the goals and you're actually on target for it, because that takes it off of the doctor's plate. The office manager is then being very proactive, and every morning huddle, office manager can help with that as well. So That's a low-lying fruit. Hopefully we were able to answer that one for you. The next question that just came in is, do you ever delegate and have departments track their stats and provide those to us? The answer is absolutely yes. 100% delegate that out, because what does that do? That empowers your team to help as well. And I'm so pro that, like, when you have a strong team, that you also have a strong office. So delegating it out, empowering them, but you have to have it clear. If you say, hey, I want you to track your daily production, fantastic, but make it so it's so simple that they don't question what you're actually asking them to do, right? Remember, frustration happens when expectations aren't met. So make that expectation crystal clear. A lot of those checklists that we just gave you, you can delegate that out. The hygienist can be tracking their pay or their production every day, making sure they're producing 3 times their pay. That's then going to filter down to you to know, is my hygiene department healthy or not? Same thing with like unconfirmed appointments. Have your front office help you with that, so that way you're not the one having to count manually what's going on. And I also believe, those of you who had me in offices know I'm from a big family. And I believe that if you can divide and conquer with your team, it's so much easier, and not just one person is pulling all the weight for you. So great question. Definitely utilize your team for sure. Another question that just came in as an example. Each hygienist pulls their own production, so they're aware. Sorry, I just read that. Yes, absolutely have them do it, because like this comment just came in. If you guys have the hygienist being aware of their production, it's so much easier to motivate and inspire your team to make changes if they're aware of what it should be, right? Hey, hygienist, you need to be producing 3 times your pay. Fantastic. Well, in Dentrix, you can make it so it views on your hygienist screen their production that day. So if they know they need to be producing 1,500, up in that view bar, the hygienist can actually see that. So I really want you guys to think that is a great way to get your hygiene department involved as well. And you can come up with a lot of different ideas. This would be a great time for us to chat about those as well. Another question that just came in is, how can I better manage my staff? Tiff, do you want to take this one?
Yeah, managing staff is tough. Team members, right? We like to call them team members. We're all a huge family, and that comes with difficulties when it comes to managing, because you can tend to get a little bit too close, and it almost makes that fine line crossable so that it's difficult to manage them. So I think, just like Kiera's been saying this whole time, set those expectations. If you have the expectations set for each individual team member within your office of what you're expecting them to do on the daily, monthly, quarterly, etc., then it really manages itself when you're tracking what they're doing. And when you're tracking their job, you know, the things that they're supposed to be doing daily, it becomes less personal. And it's a lot easier. I feel like it just takes care of itself, and it takes the personal relationship side out of the game.
Definitely. Thanks for that tip. I really appreciate
Yep.
it. All right, another question that came in is recare calls and unscheduled treatment. How many should I do? How do I do that effectively and efficiently? And this is, oh gosh, this is like a really good question to bring in, because that was my least favorite job. I hated calling on these calls, and I knew I had to do it because it was so important. So on this, Tiffany and I actually did a video that we'll post. We just answered this question in a video as well, which is a quick, simple thing. I am so pro. One thing we used to do in our offices is we'd say every team member had to make 5 calls on these calls, but I changed that just recently, and I wanted every person to schedule 2 calls, because now we're actually meeting a quota. We're not meeting a quota, we're actually getting the results that you're looking for. So I think pulling in other team members is super helpful. Also, like I said, breaking that down to daily, weekly, monthly, calling on those recare calls so it's not a huge long list on you, but really start on it. But then I also believe in a 2-2-2 model. I believe call, then call 2 days later, call 2 weeks later, and then call 2 months later. After that, they go into inactive status and they're taken off of these call lists, so your list actually can reduce. You're not constantly calling the same people over and over and over again. There is actually visible progress on this list. Tell your whole team, we're going to have more information on that. I do have a pretty solid video on it, and then also I have a lot of resources for you guys on how you can track it really easily. But the 2-2-2 is a great model for that. Another question that we had is, How can I get better at treatment plan presentation? Tiffany, you are a rock star at treatment presentation. How about you take that question?
Yeah, absolutely. I am all about relationships in every aspect. I feel like relationships are huge when it comes to treatment planning because it's impossible, in my opinion, to get an acceptance if you don't know who you're talking to. My number one thing that I recommend is to ask questions, find out who you're talking to, find out who they are as a person, not who they are as a dental patient. Find out if they have children. Just be personal with them and be personable and relatable and find the key to them, right? You're going to have better case acceptance if you can hit their marks on who they are as a person. No two people are the same. If you go at two different people with the same motive, it's not going to work. And on motive, if you go at anybody with the motive of I'm going to sell you something, and in your heart you're not trying to help them, you're not trying to do a good service for them, my personal opinion is it's probably not going to work. I think that everything has to come from a good place of heart in order for them to feel your sincerity and them to understand that you are there to help them get healthier.
Definitely. I think that's huge. And I love what Tiffany said about being personable, having them be a person, not just a number, right? Like so many times we get
Right.
caught up in, I've got to close this case because I need to hit my production goals. And that's when we lose it because we're no longer coming from a genuine place. Another thing I want to chime in on that is don't be afraid to talk money. I think it's very important to realize that you're offering a great service, that you are offering the best service, and that that patient is so lucky to be at your office. Sometimes I remember I was this way. I was very scared because I felt like I looked very young, and I was like, yeah, I want you to spend, 10 grand, and I look like I shouldn't even be driving. Like that was very intimidating to me. But honestly, don't be afraid about money, and don't be afraid to talk facts, because ultimately patients, it's okay. They know they're coming to the dentist and they know that you're doing a great service. So don't be afraid to talk about that money. And I think that that is one of the biggest hurdles I see with treatment plan presentations is being afraid to talk money. And if you're afraid and you're like, so it's going to be 10 grand, but we have like 100 different financing options. And honestly, I just want you to say yes. They can feel that. So don't be
Mhm.
afraid, and always start with like, okay, great. We're going to start with, all right, your treatment today is going to be 5 grand. So let's get you scheduled on Monday. Get them into the schedule. And then they're like hesitant. Perfect. You know what? It's going to be 2 crowns. We can do 50-50 with you. And then after that, oh, you know what? We actually offer care credit, or, you know what? We do a 3-month in-office financing. Don't give them the laundry list of all those different options right away. Break it down for them. Go from the top to the next, because then you look like you're presenting so many solutions that are so beneficial, as opposed to playing all of your cards right from the beginning and then you have nothing else to go to. And they're going to wait and they're going to go for the cheapest option every single time. So make sure you're not afraid to talk money, and then be very strategic in offering those discounts so you can maintain those strong cards.
Yeah, I think
Okay.
silence is golden, and sometimes we talk through it when thinking there's something wrong when the patient's just trying to figure it out themselves.
Awesome. Awesome. Okay, another question I just saw that came through. Thanks, guys, for sending in questions. Hopefully, this is helpful for you. What are some small things that I can do daily to help me be a leader rather than just a boss? Ooh, I like this one because this is so key. I think sometimes it's very easy to get lost in the I've got to get my team motivated, I've got to keep them on task, I've got to be a boss. I think it's important to realize that a leader does not do everything. A leader actually leads the team, and a leader empowers and inspires their team. So one of the easiest key things that I will give you tonight as the golden gem, because it's a few small things that you can do to be a leader instead of a boss, is when someone comes to you and they have a problem, what is our gut reaction? To find the solution, right? We want to help them and we want to give that solution to them. But instead of doing that, I challenge you to say, hey, you know what, Tina, that is such a great, like, yeah, that is a big problem. What are 3 solutions you have, one of which that doesn't cost money? Getting your team to be proactive with their solutions, you then are empowering and inspiring them. You are then leading your team to find solutions as opposed to always coming with problems. You then start to create leaders within your own office that really are going to impact and inspire and just become so much stronger as a team, as opposed to you always being the solution finder. that is like my golden ticket for you tonight on how to be a leader as opposed to just a boss. So just had another question come in that said, um, how do we get our hygienist to produce more? Tiff, you want to take the hygiene department one?
Oh my goodness. I feel like goals and motivation. How do you get your hygienist to produce more? You need to set attainable goals for your hygienist, but push their limits, right? This is going to be their dollar per hour. These are things that are going to be goals that they're working towards, and this is also why it's important for them to be tracking their own daily production and giving them the items that they can add into their own appointments, right? Giving them the power to do a same-day scaling and root planing, giving them the in-office products, the toothbrushes and the toothpaste and the items that you can sell, things like that within the office that they can push their limits on their dollar per hour. And really just motivating them by being a great leader, like Kiera just talked about, giving them the power within themselves to do better and more than what they think they're capable of. A lot of hygienists will limit themselves.
Awesome. Thank you, Tiffany. I appreciate
Yeah.
that. All right. Another question that we were asked is, and this is a great one because I get asked this all the time. At what point or size of an office does the office manager not have as much patient face duties, like answering the phone, checking in, treatment planning? Could that be defined as a number of doctors or employees or patients? This is a fantastic question, and I appreciate this question coming in because this is dicey, and there's really no way to say when it becomes you're no longer front patient. You don't have as much interface with the patients. But what I can say is when it starts to detract from the management position, that's when I feel you need to come back. Now, it doesn't matter about how many doctors or how many employees, because honestly, it can vary. Like even in a small practice where there are like five employees and one doctor, maybe the office manager shouldn't be the main one to answer the phone and whatnot, and they need to be pulled out. One thing I have found in this scenario is you need to pull that office manager off the front line at least for a small amount of time every single week. I call that protected time, and I'm very proactive on that because office managers have so many duties. We just listed them, and they can't get those done if they're the ones who are answering the phone, they're dealing with all the patients, they're presenting all the treatment plans. They truly cannot get these things done. So you set up a specific time every single week that's set. I recommend 2 hours to begin with. If you don't have anything more than that, maybe on a Wednesday morning it's not as crazy, and we can have somebody cover the front desk. The office is not going to burn down if your main person is not sitting up there, but let them have that time to really get these tasks done so that way your office can move forward. And a lot of times people feel like, yeah, but if my office manager is not up there, we're not going to sell as many treatment plans. But I will tell you that when you do that, your office is no longer relying on that one person as a crutch. You now are building an office that can have a lot of people do what your one office manager is doing, and you're actually going to become a much, much, much stronger office if you do that. So great question. Thanks for asking that. And we can always dive more into these questions later in videos. Tiffany and I will be producing videos, producing infographics, content like that. And the community is an area where we want you to throw these questions at us so we can answer along with your peers can answer. So another question that I wanted to answer as well is, if someone's in the role of office management, what tasks from that checklist that we just talked about would we recommend starting with? Because truly this is a super overwhelming thing, especially for a brand new office manager. I know a lot of times people are promoted from front desk to office management, and if I were to see this list, I probably would cry because I would feel like there's no way I can get all of this done. So I would say start with the big numbers that are going to impact you the most. What are the things that are going to have the biggest impact right away? And let's start attacking those numbers. We're not going to be tracking our case acceptance. We're not going to be tracking our attrition. We're not going to be tracking all those. I want you to track your production collection. I want you to make sure you know those numbers forward and backward. I want you to make sure that you are at least checking off 1 or 2 items off of the daily, the weekly, and the monthly. And then I also want you to be setting a goal for yourself of when you're going to step up every single one of these additional tasks to your list without overwhelming yourself. I also want you to review that list and see what of these things can I delegate to my team, and then how am I going to have them report back. And if you take a little bit of time to utilize your team and to be really proactive in that, this list is not going to feel overwhelming as much. But give yourself a couple of months if you're brand new into this, because a lot of these things, like Tiffany, I'm sure you can vouch, I was not tracking all these things right away. I was not doing all these things. And sometimes it is surviving the day to day, but I don't want you being caught in the whirlwind of just surviving. I want you to be proactive. So pick a few things, like I said, 1 or 2 items off of that are going to have the biggest impact that you can track the most. Tiff, did you have anything you wanted to add to that?
No, I think that was fantastic, and I completely agree. Don't be hard on yourself. Just start small and work your way to the bigger list. I think giving yourself some wins as you go along are going to be key.
Definitely. All right, guys, thanks so much for that awesome Q&A session. I hope that we were able to answer your questions, and always, always, always feel free to email us. We're going to be available. We want you to email us. We're going to get you guys into the Facebook group, and we want to talk about, at this point, what's the next step for you guys. What we want to do is we want as many people as we possibly can to be a part of this community, right? When we surround ourselves with brilliant minds, what do we become? We're brilliant. So we want you to go out and invite all of your friends. This is going to be a community where the more people you refer in, the more benefits you get from it. So we will be having more information that we'll be sending out within the next week for you of how to join our community, of how to be a member of this community, of additional things you can do. We also want you to have access. We're going to have downloadable forms. We're going to have checklists for you. All these different things we're going to make available to you through our community, but the community will only grow if you refer. So just like in an office, we are a growing company now. We are launching this to help the world of office management change to become the best. We want you to be masters of the office management. We don't want this to be a scary, overwhelming world. We want you to have that support. So we're offering a few different items. First, we're going to have the community that you'll be able to enroll in, that you'll be able to be a part of on a monthly basis, that you'll have access to all of this information. In addition to that, we're also going to offer another variable for you if you're interested to have one-on-one coaching as an office manager, where you can talk with Tiffany or myself or our other coaches and actually have us help you put together actionable items for your office specifically. In addition to that, Tiffany and I always come in office to consult. So if you like what we do, if you want us to come in and help you in your office, we can get so much done in a day and a half. And because I know what it's like to need help, but also have to go to my doctor and say, hey, I want you to invest this much. We're not crazy consultants that charge a ton. We actually make it super affordable for you so you get the help that you need. So join us. Come join the Dental Masters with Office Management. Share with your friends. Truly, if you bring in 2 friends, we are going to benefit you, and we're going to give you so many services. We also want you to like our Facebook page. Ellie's going to make it out. If you send us a private message, we are going to add you in for free for the first month to our private Facebook community. So you're going to have access to all of us, all of this information that we're going to constantly be adding videos, adding podcasts. We're out there constantly to give you guys this information. We want you to help out anyone. We're going to have 2 communities. We're going to have the office manager, where you can have front office as well join into that. And then we're going to have our doctor office management. And we did that intentionally, because what we want is we want our office managers to feel like that's an area where they're not having doctors questioning them constantly, and they can be very free. We're going to make sure it's always positive. We never want it to be anything negative, because positivity is what our community is about. But we're also going to have a separate one for doctors to have all this information as well, where you can ask the questions and not have to be scared of your office managers knowing the questions you're asking as well. So be sure to send us a message. We want to make sure that all of you join in. So send us a private message. Ellie's going to be sending out emails to you guys to follow up and give us your feedback, things you liked from this webinar, things that we can improve. Obviously, having Tiffany's face will be a great improvement next time.
I would like it.
So guys, thank you so much for joining us. We always stay on time, running on time. Thanks again for being part of our Dental Masters. We will catch you guys next time.
Thanks, guys.